What's up, everybody? Christopher Dixon here. We're in the full swing of summer, and we have been talking about 20 tips for 2020 in spite of the crazy times. Tips that you can use to revitalize or even grow your church, your organization, your business. And so we've been talking about these things. Hey, what makes or what helps make a church successful, especially during crazy time periods, or my business. I've been just trying to hang on. I know I'm going to have to hit the reset button come 2021 or beyond because of all this craziness. So I wanted to talk a little bit with you today, just for about 2 to 3 minutes, about something that we hear a lot of times when we're going out to eat, or perhaps when we're hanging out in our neighborhood or social circles. What I will hear young people say, and I want to define young people, and I want to give you my caveat so that you know that I'm not, if you're young, I'm not picking on you. By young people, I'm not talking about folks who are still in middle school or early high school. By young people, I specifically mean late teenage years, early 20 years. And here's my caveat. Young people are especially idealistic. And I love that. We love in our family hearing about young people because it's the ideas of those young men and women all across the world that change the world for the better. So it is young folks who have ideas, whether it's about helping the planet or help making race relations better, or technological innovations like when social media was really invented, things like that. It is oftentimes the ideas of those young people that help change the world and help change the world for the better. So let me say first, I am all for the ideas of young people because I'm all for the ideas of middle-aged and senior adults as well. But I want to say that those in their late teenage years, early 20 years, that is when we are often the most idealistic. We are the least jaded, and so it's those young men and those young women who can really change the future for the better. But here's one thing that I hear sometimes from young men and women that I don't understand. You'll be talking to them in your social setting or in your church or in your restaurant or wherever it is that you happen to run into them, and they'll say, I just want to be, and then fill in the blank. So for example, I just want to be a movie star, or I just want to make great music, or I just want to invent something. But when you start talking to them, and this is where I'm picking on those particular young people a little bit, they'll say, well, you start asking them, well, what do you want to do with that? What is it exactly that I want to own my own small business. And I'll say, great. What kind of business is it that you're interested in? What is it that you want to do? And they go, oh, I don't care. I just want to own a business. The difference that sets those young people apart versus those who know exactly what they want to do is a term that I'm going to throw out that you have probably heard. You've certainly heard it if you're in the business world. You have probably heard it if you're in the organizational, for example, the small nonprofit or the medium-sized nonprofit. And you may not have heard it at all if you're in the church leadership field. And that two-word term is the value add. The value add. And what I mean by that is there's a difference when a young, or for that matter, a middle-aged or a senior person says, I just want to, and if they say, hey, I just want to own a small business, but they don't care what it is, the question I would have for them is, what is the value add? Meaning, what do you specifically bring to the table? What specifically are you looking to do? Well, how that affects you and I as leaders in our churches, in our businesses, in our organizations, and this is really regardless of the size, is are we just struggling? Let's say I own a restaurant. We just want to just struggle to get by from day to day? Or is there a specific value add if we're in a certain section of a city or certain area of a particular neighborhood? I want to make the best Italian sandwiches that there are. And what we have seen from a church standpoint, for example, some churches, in addition, of course, to focusing on the gospel, they are specifically adoption-oriented, for example. Some churches are specifically focused on younger families or older families or a specific type of group. And so what they're doing is they're bringing their value add to the table. In addition, in the case of a church, for us focusing, worshiping on God and of course bringing people to Jesus, here is specifically our value add in what we are doing. Or maybe it's a restaurant. In addition to having a great dining experience and great customer service, we are going to have the best Italian sandwich that this neighborhood has to offer. And so sometimes when I'm talking with those young, idealistic young men and women, whether they're in the organization, the nonprofit field, they want to be leaders in their church, they are going into ministry, wherever that might happen to be, or specifically those who want to be in the corporate world or want to own their own small business. My encouragement for them and my encouragement for you today, this is video 8 for the 20 tips for 2020, is what specifically is your value add? What specifically do we do here within our church, within our business, within our organization that really sets us apart from the sea of other churches, nonprofits, businesses that are out there? Because hey, if I just want to have a restaurant, for example, that doesn't really narrow down what our specific value add is to our neighborhood. You know, if you look at a soft drink company or a sandwich company or somebody like Coca-Cola or Pepsi or something like that, when they add a drink to the market, it's a specific niche and a specific value add that they are bringing to a very specific group of people, whether that's my young male demographic or my older female demographic, whatever it may be, there's a specific value add. So tip number 8 for this week for your church, your business, your organization, you have to bring a value add, bring a specific value every single time to that church or that business or that organization. What is the difference that we are trying to make? And make sure it's very, very specific. Not just, hey, we're going to have church and we're going to invite everybody and love everybody. I'm not making fun of that mission. I'm not saying that's not a worthy calling for a small or a medium or a large size church. What I'm telling you is that your church or your business or your nonprofit organization needs to narrow down its value add. You could call it a mission. You could call it a statement. You could call it a statement of identity. And what is the value add so that you're not just bringing this fluff content, but you're giving people who come to your church, your business, your organization, something that they can use every single time. Hope summer's going great for you. Look forward to talking with you again soon.